complete anything, so I'm a dip a dungeon. It's fine. Oh, and we're off.
What a way to start. Single rupee right off the bat. Let's see where our runners decide to go. We got Santa Link or Festive Link on the left. And, well...
my personal favorite sprite over on the right-hand side, the mouse cursor. He turns into Clippy when he's a bunny. It's beautiful.
DT really enjoys that sprite. I don't know how he does it, but ooh, nice. Tier 1 tree pole got the 8 bombs. Gonna be all ready to go once we get into Kakariko, start bombing some walls. Now, that also makes me wonder if our players are going to consider going into the front of Hyrule Castle using those bombs, especially with that lamp now. We can clear quite a bunch in there.
Yeah, that'll put Dark Cross in logic. And normally at this level, that lamp is a bit whatever. Dark rooms, what are those? But with so little to navigate by, no sword sparkles, no nothing, and so little health, it's nice to have.
A lamp in the first minute of the game is a blessing. Just because it's one thing you don't have to think about at all anymore. It's like, okay, I have this lamp, I can see in the dark, and it is a fire source that we'll more than likely need at some point to progress. Now, if only it was also a weapon, that would be useful. I'm thinking Zelda 1 candle would be nice.
Yep. If I had to count the number of times somebody's asked, hey, can you get cold stare out of there with the lamp? No, you cannot, as it turns out.
Someday. Well, this is interesting. I was not expecting to see the Dark Cross play right away. Finding just an Ice Palace small key and bailing on out of here. Ice Palace small key, one of those keys that are convenient for routing, but not necessarily required. Speaking of, we got a sword. Speaking of required.
Yep, it will be, and it's definitely very nice to have, especially this early. The way this logic shakes out, you can sometimes find yourself going an hour or more without a sword, things being locked behind keys. Nice not to have to worry about that.
Mm-hmm. Kind of an easy start to get lamp and 8 bombs from the tree and a sword already. That just takes out some of the thought process right at the beginning of I need to find bombs, I need to kill enemies, I need to do this. We're already ready to go. We can just kind of start clearing everything. Well, so far, nothing showing up for DT here in Hyrule Castle, other than getting some bombs back. Okay, well, easy seed.
Yep, stopping power, not much of a problem this early in the seed. 2 swords, right where you want to see them.
I'm assuming DT is going to Death Orb and check Dark Cross. But now he's going to have to wait a little. He's going to take a few more hits. Now, the funny thing would have been is if he let the ball and chain guard hit him to force the pot out of his hand to kill the pot guard. So he basically would, or to kill the ball and chain guard. So he'd basically do it to himself. Now that would have been cheeky. Think we're going to find anything useful here in Kakariko?
Well, we're already seeing a pod small and the Thieves' Town small. It's always, again, one of those nice peace of mind items.
Yeah,
Don't have to worry about orphaning that.
Is a sigh of relief right there. It's like that, the Swamp Small, Desert Small, are just ones that you're like, give me those early. Because otherwise I'm going to have to potentially, well, especially Desert, double dip, come back later to check right side. DT gonna get his sword. He's gonna be following Walther a little bit behind in routing through Kakariko, but probably gonna follow the same route through.
Almost certainly, and potentially saving himself a little bit of time, even though that Hyrule Castle play did not pay off hugely. When there's a blue goo, won't have to cycle back for Bottle Boy. That's always nice.
Our first big key going to be for Eastern Palace. And there is the boots in the well. We're going fast today.
Very generous seed.
The seed is too nice. Oh, he's getting rupees. Okay.
Yep, he's just 3 short of being
Oh.
able to talk to Bottle Vendor.
Do you see what was in Lumberjack?
I did not. Educate
Well,
me.
that's actually good, because Agate Tower is required regardless because it is all Dungeon Key Sanity, but that was the flippers in Lumberjack.
Ooh.
So, gonna be probably clearing Agate Tower a lot sooner than expected.
Yep.
So this seed is continuing to be really nice. It's a nice seed. I for one, have experienced far too many times of my go mode in an all Dungeon Key Sanity being the second Castle Tower key. And I'm very happy for these two that that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it all depends on what's locked behind those flippers.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, if say, both Swamp and Ice Palace are pendants, then things might get a little interesting. For sure.
Yeah, although, looking at our item loadout so far, of the things that we need, ooh, Ice Rod in the library there. That's another one of those huntable items that it's good to have. But yeah, we've got most of what we need. All we need are those agate keys at this point. We've got the Master Sword, Lamp, and the boots to monk the tree, so everything's pointing to those flippers becoming available sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't even really need the Moon Pearl yet to get those, because you could clear Agate Tower and go get the flippers and then find the Moon Pearl behind those flippers, which would be hilarious if that happened. I would love that. Yeah. All right, DT about to get his boots, and going to be pretty excited. He's going to have to put down that soda so you can run. No time to drink. As Walther's going to... Well, there we go. It was close. It was in the dam. There's water around it. I will give it to... We'll give it to the seed. It's fine.
Yeah, that is one of the few nice things about this mode, is that no worrying about is Aga 1 my Dark World access? Should I last location that? Should I full clear everything else? Nah, just do it as soon as you can. Why not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that. I find that to be more interesting in, like, especially in like just a normal all dungeon seed. How a lot of the times it ends up being do GT and then do Castle Tower right afterwards. Which, I gotta say, the Aga 1 fight and doing Castle Tower at the end of a seed it's relaxing because there's nothing going on, but it's also really stressful because you're just waiting for Aga to, like, you know, allow you to attack him.
Yep, and just having that long and fairly uneventful dungeon right at the end, it's a little anticlimactic as a viewer, and as a runner, you're just eyeing that race time GG like, have I already lost this? What's going on?
Oh god, what is happening? Temper Sword already? The seed is... I'm not gonna say it, because you know the game is gonna throw some wackiness at some point soon, but seed is so far really, really generous.
Yeah, it's handing out the convenience items, and here's the thing, these are very talented runners. They don't need them. You can make things a little hard for them, Seed.
I know, right? Come on. Oh, nice find on DT's side. Hookshot in Bonk Rocks. I can't imagine Walther not getting that relatively soon, because he did just get the boots not too long ago. But, just think, we're a glove away from East Death Mountain. That's exciting. And that also brings me to another interesting topic of, if we do find those Castle Tower keys, DT would be able to beat Agate Tower and then hookshot across the Broken Bridge, which is, you know, sometimes our access to West Dark World in certain seeds, so... If we got the glove... Well, oh, no, I love it. Hold on, I know I'm ranting, but imagine you have to beat Agate Tower to go get the flippers just so you can swim up the river to hookshot across the Broken Bridge. to get like the rest of the Dark World nonsense over on the left side. I love it. Ooh. Okay, I'll stop.
Meanwhile, Walther giving us our first look here in Mini Moldorm Cave. Not a whole lot to be found there so far. Yep, whole bunch of nothing.
Yeah,
But
about the only value you got out of that was that Meyer one.
Yeah. Which...
Yeah, he is routing in that Zora check. We saw him doing Houlihan earlier before heading this direction because he wanted to have enough money to visit Zora. And the thing is, though, Walther doesn't know about the flippers at Lumberjack, I don't think. I don't think he checked that. I think just DT did.
Fairly sure you're right. This is still not a... Even if you know about that, it's still not a terrible play because he can do some water walking to make these checks a little faster.
Oh, there's one. All right. Where's the other one?
Vanilla Ice Rod Cave with one of our Castle Tower keys. We need 2 before we can face Aga 1.
Okay, DT gonna skip out on the Agana check to head on over here. So he's not gonna have enough rupees for Zora, nor is he gonna get the Tempered Sword. But if we find more progression over in this section, well, to be fair, there's a cape on the island. None of the stuff that Walther's checking right now is in logic from here on out. So our progression lies either in Eastern? Is that all we have left? Or first 2 chests of Aga Tower.
Yeah. Sage's Closet, also in the mix.
Mm-hmm. Who'd have thought that the all Dungeon Key Sandy Seed would potentially lead to you having an Aga Tower for your Dark World access? That's kind of mind-boggling. I feel like that doesn't happen very often.
No, not with those extra 2 small keys gating that access on top of everything else that you need.
I would expect DT is probably also going to go for the flipper checks because of him knowing where the flippers are. And because he's in the area, but we'll see.
And indeed, it looks like he is setting up that water walk here. We got Shovel in Fairy Fountain.
$5.
How do you feel about fetch quests? Do you want to do
them? Yeah. Sometimes you gotta. Now, no, I'll just stop there. There's a single arrow there on the store's ledge, so won't be needing those slippers to come back for that. So that's good news for Walther and eventually for DT. Now the question is, will we find something huge on Zora? No.
That's a big old ripperoonie.
That is the opposite. So DT not gonna get bullied by Zora this round. So that's good for him. Eventually he'll probably come back to check it later.
Yeah, and especially with so few checks left, that's the sort of thing that can weigh in the back of your mind.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think DT was going to backtrack to go to the man under the bridge, but he got shot by a Zora, so now he had to save him quick because his water walk was taken away from him. Green Pennant gonna be on blind. Castle Tower? Oh, there it is.
Yep, there's our DW access. Also a blue cane. Nice to have. Also means that cape on floating on Hylia Island, rather, probably not going to be a problem.
Yeah, depending on what is on Bumper Ledge, which we'll find out eventually. But curious to see if Walther decides to check the front of Hyrule Castle before going straight for the Castle Tower. But it looks like both players are going to be making the play. Well, this also works out for Walther. He's going to save a little bit of time on DT. Well, because DT's checking Shovel, but also because Walther didn't check what was at Lumberjack, so he'll be able to get his hookshot out of Bonk Rocks and then immediately get his flippers from Lumberjack. So Shovel leads to 3 bombs.
Yeah, it does open up some potential divergence here, since DT already has his hook shot. As soon as he reaches Pyramid, he'll be able to have a lot more checks in front of him, whereas Walther will be bottlenecked to heading to those flips a little earlier.
Yeah, so the interesting thing is that thing that I was talking about that I wanted to happen, I think it's happening. I think we're going to have to go get those flippers to hookshot across the broken bridge. Because I'm sure no one wants to, well, Walther can't because he's a little low on cash. I doubt either of these runners want to go into Palace of Darkness with only one pod small. No bow, no hammer, no mirror.
Yeah, you've got one check in logic, I believe.
Oh, DT discovering that the stun prize is actually 20 smackers. It's pretty good. So utilizing that hookshot already. I was wondering what he was doing in that room with the... why he was stunning them. But now I know.
And
So
DT
smart.
also finding the blue mail there in the first chest of Aga Tower. This siege is continuing to hand out convenience items like candy on Halloween.
Is that a Hyrule Castle map? It's a good place for it, right? 16.5 minutes in, and we're doing basically the last dungeon of the game for this mode. So this is kind of great. This is kind of nice to see. Not really much to talk about, so let's just sit back and watch. DT's got to be a little bit careful, though. He does have that blue potion, but I doubt he wants to use it here.
Yeah, he's not in quite as big a danger as it looks like, because he does have that blue mail backing up those 2 hearts. So those 2 hearts are basically 4. Oop, still taking a hit there from a guard spear.
You say that, but then again, the damage tables in Link to the Past are wacky sometimes. I don't know.
It's true. Not everything gets halved the way you think it should.
Yeah. But yeah, blue mail is nice to have regardless, unless you're trying to death warp. So, but at least it's not red mail. And DT going to be picking up an extra heart there, so nobody ever dies to Aga 1 anyway, right? Right?
It's not something you see too often, certainly not at this level of play. Walther with that tempered sword making short work of even some of these usually tankier red guards.
So as of right now, the only difference between these 2 runners via checks is Walther checked Zora for nothing, but he also checked Agnes Cave for Tempered Sword. DT checked Bonk Rocks for the hook shot, and he also knows the flippers are on Lumberjack, while Walther does not. I think that's it. I think that's the big difference. So the question is, what's going to be on the pyramid, and is it going to be helpful at all? Are we going to be grabbing those flippers immediately?
Yeah, can't even get to Catfish. No hammer, no gloves.
Yeah, and the other thing to think about is, since Walther doesn't know about the flippers, he might head to Palace of Darkness, which is why he is going out of his way to grab some extra cash. Unfortunately, not having the hookshot to see the stun prize, but...
Yeah. Yeah, because from his perspective at this point, it's that one in-logic item, plus as long as he's as long as he's there in pod, he's got the bottle, he can bottle glitch to the right side.
That's true.
So yeah, that might seem like a more tempting play than Bonk Rocks into Lumberjack.
All right, let us see what is on the pyramid for DT. It is some bombs. He's going to go get his flippers and probably come right back. So because of that one check, I mean, Walther might also go check Bonk Rocks and Lumberjack after this as well, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, chat pointing out that we do have a couple of checks available in Eastern as well.
We do have the big key, so basically we can check everything in there except for the boss.
Yeah, so that would actually be where the item density is greatest, but if you piece out of that after Sage's Closet, I think that's something to save for last. You've made your decision.
Ooh, nice check here from Walther.
Yeah, very nice game knowledge.
That was one of the things that I
I
learned when I was like playing through the game originally as a kid. Because I think it was like looking for fairies or looking for health, and I pulled on that and I was like, whoa, there's money coming out of this. It's wacky. So lucky for him, one of the tree pole tiers was red rupees. Alright, DT with flippers in hand, gonna head back through the Aga portal that was created by defeating Aga, and he's gonna head on up north. Jump into the water, swim up, climb the little staircase or ladder, whatever you want to call it. Whoop! And then hook shot across. Ben, this is wonderful. We're finally getting some good old divergence.
Yep, that's what you want to see. It's no fun seeing two runners just following each other's footsteps. You want to see some gambles.
And the funny thing is, either one of these plays could be the correct one that leads to progression. I'd have to favor DT's play over Walther's because I hate Pod, but and he's gonna run out of checks a lot sooner than DT is because DT he's got a lot of stuff he can do right now. Knowing where the cape is, gonna go take a look at what's that bumper ledge and see if that cape is required. In fact, it is not required. That is a heart piece. Bye-bye. Also, just to double check, we got Kana Burna out of Sahasrala's hut, correct? Which I believe DT went there as well. Because that's where... Wasn't that where our other castle tower key was?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. You see the potion glitch in action on Walther's side, allowing him to trick the game into thinking that the enemies in that room are killed so he can progress. We're going to get 2 items up here, and he's going to also set up for that death warp. Ooh. Ugh. Actually, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, that's a book collected out of logic on the Bollocked side of Pod there.
Now, I feel like book is one item that you'd rather get early than late, because obviously backtracking to check Bombo's tablet or Ether tablet is a pain in the butt. That will be interesting for Walther, because, you know, that might send him... It might send him to Desert, but I don't know. He already saw what was on Desert Ledge, I'm pretty sure. Well, it's a pretty useful big key.
Yeah, that's the GT big key. It's something that you're gonna want. Doesn't really matter whether it's sooner or later. As long as it doesn't turn into the legendary GT big key hunt, which is the bane of key sanity runs. Alright, I don't think we've really found much of anything in Skull, as far as I know. No, not that we've seen. And Walther, knowing that that book is out of logic, is doing what we know he needs to do to open up a whole bunch of checks. He's grabbing that hook shot, and pretty soon he will have his flippers.
Yeah, and I can imagine that he's probably going to go do what DT just did. So he'd probably rather do that than dip into Eastern without a bow. So right now, I'd say the thing we're looking for the most would probably be our first glove, because that would open up quite a bit. That would get us up to Death Mountain, and with Hookshot would get us to East Death Mountain, Paradox Cave, Spiral Cave, quite a few checks over there.
Absolutely. We've got DT popping in for the first 4 checks in Thieves Town, which is as far as he's going to be able to go with no big key.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what we're gonna find next. I do think that the glove is gonna be showing up soon, but if we find like a mirror could make some interesting choices. Like that first chest of swamp play. I think we saw that pay off in a race the other day.
Yeah,
You
that's
never
a
know.
possibility. I mean, it gets our runners 2 Tower of Hera and 2 checks up there. Also, well, no, not without glove or flute for mountain access.
Yeah, unfortunately DT has a little bit too much health, so he's just gonna run back instead of taking the Death Orb. I feel like it probably would still be faster just to run into a fireball or something, but the difference is probably very minuscule. It almost makes me wish you can unequipped tunics or something in the game. Oh, that's true. Our fellow teammate JP. Oh well, there's the mirror. Okay,
Yep, commentator's curse.
Me and DT's teammate JP points out that DT does have a fairy that he found in Skullwoods, so not wanting to death warp there either, which is good. A lot of runners, myself included, would have immediately forgot that they had that, and then death warped and got revived and said, "Ah, nuts."
So that mirror opens up some interesting possibilities. Looks like DT's going to be playing it a little thorough and heading to Graveyard Ledge. That'll also open up Cave 45, and like you said, the first of Swamp Palace. It'll also make his routing a little easier if he decides to make the play to Pod. It'll let him get into Eastern with that same play.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it's a little... I almost feel like it'd be better just to keep heading down to Hype Cave, and then if you don't find anything, maybe save and quit and run around hookshot across and do the mirror checks, but I would be incredibly wrong because there is a hammer right there. Good call on DT side. He can also check King's Tomb while he's here as well, so... Now, the funny thing is, we still need 1 glove to get that convenient Dark World access, so let's see if it's here. Moment of truth. Ether? Well, we might need that later.
Yeah, we have not scouted out the Turtle Rock or the Mire entrance requirements, so you know what they say. Ether, it will come in handy or it won't.
Isn't that a blind pun?
If it's not, it should be.
I'm pretty sure
For
it is.
Version 32, let's make this happen.
I feel like I've seen that. Or it's either Bombos, it's either Bombos or Quake. But if you like read it too fast, it sounds like either. I feel like somebody got goofed up thinking it was like a hint or something. Yeah, good call on DT's side heading back there. It seems, a little slow to run all the way back up there for those 2 checks, but it was definitely worth it.
Yeah, I think certainly in Key Sanity, and especially all dungeons keys, where there are so many more required items to get anywhere, I think it can definitely pay to be a little extra thorough.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, 100%.
It'd be a harder play to justify in an ordinary 7-7
Mm-hmm. Well, now we have info on 2 more Dark World dungeons. We have the Mire map and the Swamp map now, and we did get that info about Thieves Town. We're still looking for that glove, and that's got to be showing up sometime soon. And with that in hand, we'll have access to a lot of Death Mountain now. Yeah, the question is, will DT make the Swamp Dive or not? I feel like, as you said, being thorough in this mode, especially early, is a good call. Because you never know when that one thing is going to be required. Especially when you need, like, 99% of the items in this game for all dungeon key sanity.
And it looks like Tower of Hera and Skull Woods are going to be our 5/6 red crystals that open up Pyramid Fairy this seed.
So, wow. That plus the mire and swamp maps that we got, we have a lot of dungeon information already. Okay, hype. Cave, what are you going to do for us? We got a heart piece. What else we got? We got 3 bombs. What else you got? Hey, 3 bombs. What else you got? Hey, 10 arrows. What else you got? The glove. Okay. Saved it.
Yep. I think that one item is worth at least 3 or 4 out of 10 hype. It's a big item.
Alright, DT gonna complete the route by picking up, I'm assuming the cape, and then checking the man under the bridge. And he might go ahead and do Zora as well. We'll be curious to see if he decides to take the portal and go to Catfish first. That's what it looks like he might be doing.
Yeah,
Or
Catfish
maybe-
is one of those awkward checks that if you can route it in with absolutely anything else, it's very nice to do so.
Or this might be a pod Eastern play. It's hard to tell. No, okay.
Yep.
Oh,
Meanwhile,
yeah,
on
I like
Walther's
this.
side,
I like this better.
on Walther's side, he has orphaned that graveyard ledge. That's a little rough there.
Yeah, gonna be missing out on that hammer for a little bit. But then again, who knows? We could see him go... Well, actually, yeah. I don't know when you would route that in. Unless you're like heading up to Catfish or something and you hookshot across to check those two real quick.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Oh yeah, we still haven't seen the back of Escape. It's only 32 minutes in, we just got our first glove. No big deal. Now I'm just waiting for second glove to be like right here. Ooh. Big key to desert. Heart piece. And 3 bombs. Okay. Well, that is a required big key, so...
Yep, might have been a little more useful to Walther, who has the book and the ability to get into desert.
True.
But you're going to need it sooner or later.
So the nice thing now is we have convenient Dark World access. Well, unless you're going through the Village of Outcast portal, which is less convenient, but still doable. But more importantly, we have a lot of Death Mountain coming up over here on DT's side. Probably see a dip, a dip into Tower of Hera as well, and potentially a Hera pot to get that Pyramid Fairy crystal.
Ooh, and speaking of that book, Walther's going to put it to use here and see what is on the Desert Ledge tablet.
Ooh. Well, this is exciting. This could be huge, because that is a really out-of-the-way check. Oh, wow, DT finding a bow on the old man, while Walther finds a small key for desert. Well, it's unfortunate that he's not going to back of Escape first, because he would actually have everything he needs to beat this dungeon if he had that Desert Big. So an unfortunate double dip is going to be happening for him. Yeah, DT with bow is going to go ahead and do Eastern. He might even set up to go into pod as well, but we'll see what he does.
Nothing but 10 arrows and a map in the right side of desert.
Yeah, that small key not really showing up for Walther here, unfortunately. But there's still 2 more items he can get. Let's see what else is in here. Oh, okay. Well, that's good, kind of. Not until Walther gets that hammer, but we
Yeah,
do
that's
have all of Swamp available now.
yeah.
Because
Once he finds the hammer, but without that, it doesn't do that much for him. Opens up what? One more
no.
check?
Yeah, one more. So the bow that DT got off the old man unlocks the book that's in right side pod. That unlocks the Swamp Small in Desert. And potentially whatever is in the big chest and on Lamel is. So I'm starting to see where this the logic is starting to go. But excitingly, we are going to see our first dungeon completed over on second, I guess. Castle Tower was completed. I don't see no dead agonyms on the tracker. By the way, shout out to our tracker. Looking for Captain.
And Walther's going to be picking up his bow here. DT already got that a few minutes ago.
So, did DT just grab the bow and leave? I missed it because I was looking at desert stuff on Walther's side.
Yeah, I'm afraid I missed that as well. I definitely saw him grab that bow from Old Man.
Well, I mean, I was just wondering if he went up and checked Spec Cave or not.
Yeah, I did not notice.
Obviously, he left, otherwise he'd still be there. Ooh, Kana Samaria. That was available from the start. Not that it would have done anything for us. But now we can see some more, I'd say, arguably more efficient diver down action once we get into Swamp. I guess it kind of makes sense. You get a bow and you're like, well, I can go beat a dungeon, so I'm going to go beat that dungeon. And hope you find, like, the mitts or something to make your East Death Mountain play a little bit more efficient. So.
Yeah, and of course, DT hadn't been into pod yet, so he knows that's a couple more checks that I can make while I'm in the area. Might as well follow the dungeon logic for a while.
Yeah, and he might be, you know, thinking Walther might have dipped pod, so he wants to make sure he dips pod as well to get what was in there. Wow. Not much here in Paradox Cave, just a lot of money. Alright, coming up, we'll have our Armos fight, and we'll have our Spiral Cave. So yeah, unfortunately for Walther, we're going to be missing out a little bit. Well, I mean, small key on the ledge, or on the floating island. He does have the mirror, so he can get up to Hera. The question is, when is he going to make his way to Graveyard Ledge to get that hammer? That is a easy check to isolate for a long time.
Yeah, that's definitely what's holding him back. That's the big difference maker at this point in the run.
Yeah, and I would argue that the seed is kind of... It seems like they're going to be funneling them through Swamp Palace next. Just based on the lack of pod keys, we only have one. And how we have literally everything we need for Swamp, so... Now, the other interesting thing is, because DT already has the hammer, he's going to be able to save that one small key he has to get to the back. So we'll be able to see a little bit more pod on his side. We get a crystal, our first crystal, out of Eastern Palace.
Yep, and that, depending on what winds up where in pod, sometimes having that one fewer small key to look for can be a bit of a difference maker. If it's hidden somewhere weird.
Ooh, book coming in real strong today. Oh, well, never mind. I mean, that might be a required big key. We don't know, but
yeah,
when you're looking for big keys, that's not one of the ones you want to see usually.
Yeah, it's essentially a fetch quest item at this point, but
I mean, at least it's not like at the end of the seed when you're just needing one more big key for go mode, and that one shows up, and you're like, come on, man. I don't need you. Get out of here. I'm not going back to Swamp. You can't make me.
Yep.
For those
Still,
asking
much
why... Oh, go ahead.
Much like that that Thieves Town Small, it's a nice thing to have, just to know. I don't have to wonder what was there. I don't have to worry that I orphaned it.
DT throwing bombs everywhere except at the bombable wall. Bit of a goof. But he gets his heart piece, he gets his book, and he's going to head to the back. He'll probably bonk across to get the bridge item and then head towards the back. So for those in chat wondering how come where the hammer was and why DT is doing this instead. Is he? I wonder if he's gonna go back around. I guess he would. The mirror was in chess game, and they came up from hookshot across the broken bridge. Walther continued heading south, while DT decided to double back to check Graveyard Legend and King's Tomb before heading south. Is that a vanilla era big?
That was indeed a vanilla Hera big key. So Walther gonna be able to full clear this dungeon.
Wow. Once again, another big key that you might not want or care about, but if something's in the big chest, that could be huge if DT decides to skip Hera Basement when he gets up here. Alright, gets the Hera Pod after a few failed attempts. I think that was like the 5th or 6th try, but that trick can be a little tricky. $50 in the moment of truth. Ben, what we got?
It's a bottle.
With a bee in it.
It's a free bee.
It's a free bee. It might even be a golden bee, a good bee.
Could
I
be,
heard
as far
those
as you
are
know.
those are worth 100 smackers.
Yeah, to somebody in a turban. Meanwhile, DT heading into the back of Pod. Of course, the game has to assume that you use your keys in the most inefficient way possible, so none of this technically in logic. But we got a big key for Ice Palace.
And a big key for Pod. What the heck is going on? Wow. Well, that's funny and unfortunate. Because DT is like, man, I wish I had a Pod key. So I could just maybe beat this dungeon and never come back, but that'd be a tough call to make. I mean, you'd end up skipping out on 2 checks, the Harmless Hellway and the vanilla big key check. So he's probably hoping he doesn't find any keys so he can just come back a little bit later. Alright, so we've had 2 big keys in their vanilla dungeons so far. And Ice Palace is also another one of those big keys that you technically don't need because of, Icebreaker or because of the Ice Palace bomb jump. I believe that was our first Turtle Rock small key on DT's side in the Dark Maze.
I believe you're correct.
That is also another one of those really interesting scenarios. Because we all know about Turtle Rock and its infamous lava chest, the vanilla big key chest, where if you enter the dungeon with 3 keys, you have enough to beat the dungeon if you skip that chest. And I don't know, I've done it a few times. I'm sure everyone has done it at least once by accident, grabbing the pokey key and then immediately opening that door and thinking, ah, nuts, I just threw this entire race because of that one thing.
Won me my race this week when my opponent did that.
I think, yeah, it's rough. It's so easy to get locked into autopilot and then not even realize what you're doing.
Yeah, well, the way it shook out is the pokey dropped the small right next to the door, so I'm not sure. I think it might have been just a fat finger, not even a muscle memory thing. She was right
okay,
there.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
can't
feels
get
bad
you.
moment either way.
Alright, DT getting his swamp big. Probably be heading into Tower of Hera. And the nice thing for DT is because he has that hammer, he'll be able to immediately go straight over to East Death Mountain after this. Yeah, and the worst is I feel like there was a race earlier this week where there was a vanilla T-Rock small in lava chest as well. And it's just like, how do you plan for that? Because I think it might have also been a scenario where the person only had 2 keys coming in, so they still had to leave and come back. All right, DT gonna get Hera Basement done as well. We're 45 minutes in, and I think, yeah, just being thorough still is the way to go.
Yep, this is another one of those checks that you often see intentionally orphaned in a more standard 7-7 open seed, but in all dungeons key sanity this early when there are still so many items that you need, it's a gamble to leave it behind.
Mm-hmm. So, based on what we're finding, it does sound like our next location is going to be heading to Swamp Palace. For DT, he needs to go to Desert Palace, which he'll be able to clear, but not full clear without the Desert Small from Bombo's tablet. Walther, on the other hand, needs to go to Graveyard Ledge to get his hammer if he wants to clear Swamp Palace. Oh! DT trying to do the hair pot, getting a little too excited. Actually went downstairs. That's real funny. I think he's gonna say nope. I'll go the long way. So Walther gonna make make up a little bit of time on this, but
I'm trying to think what how long does it take for Walther to get funneled back to that graveyard ledge? What else does he have in front of him here?
well, can't go back into pod. There's nothing in there for him. Actually,
I think he's pretty close to last locationing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he could maybe Galaxy Brain just go into Swamp without the hammer, but I can't imagine him doing that.
Yeah,
is it a Galaxy Brain if it's wrong? Is Galaxy Brain usually like a compliment, like a good thing?
Yeah, it's one of those backhanded compliments, maybe.
Okay, so he's taking the Agaport Portal so he can go hookshot across. He might check Catfish first. But yeah, this is I don't think he has anything left other than like if he was to go to Swamp though, he'd have to go all the way around first. So he would get his hammer on the way regardless. So there's no way he could go to Swamp.
Yeah.
Without that hammer. It'd be impossible.
Yeah, it's that would be a heck of a play. It looks like he's thinking about hookshotting and decides, I gotta go get this catfish first.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, DT's probably going to finish up, get all his money out of Paradox Cave, and then I would assume he'd head to Desert next, where he'll get his Swamp Small, and we'll get to see a little bit more information in there as well, because we haven't seen what's in the big chest or what's on Land Mullis, which DT will be able to clear, because he does have the big key that he got from the back of Escape, which Walther hasn't actually been to, which he'll probably route in on this route as well.
And this seems like a good time to remind everybody at home to go ahead and give our racers a follow. They're here putting on a great show for all of us.
Yeah, they're great. Give them $5 too. So Ben, what do you think is going to be in Swamp Palace other than Mitts? Because that's obvious. The Mitts are always in there. or a sword, one of the two.
I mean, we could see a flute, we could see, fire rod, and then followed by our progression in the back of Skull. That'd be a nice little chain. Not too rude.
That would be pretty cheeky, wouldn't it? Okay, well... Is this a Bombos check into desert, or is this a swamp into Bombos into desert? Okay, DT. Okay. I thought he was going to go into swamp. It's like, man, that would be really unfortunate. To go into swamp, and then go into desert and find swamp small.
Yeah, I wouldn't fault him. We've been saying all along, it pays to be thorough, but
but he has a completable dungeon in front of him, so
yeah, absolutely.
And now it's extremely completable.
yeah. Now it's full clearable.
Now,
of course,
I don't agree.
We know that he could have saved himself some time by just skipping that, but that's not how you want to be.
I will say, I kind of wish he had gone back into his portal and then placed it to the south, maybe. So that after desert, he can just immediately hop back into there. But he doesn't know what he's about to find in desert, so...
Yeah, would definitely have made his routing a little cleaner, but that's us with the benefit of knowledge.
For sure. Well, despite all that, I mean... Walther... Okay, because Walther didn't go back to Eastern, did he? I'm trying to remember. Did he do Eastern yet? I thought he did. He did.
Yeah, I thought he had 2.
Okay, yeah. So... Okay, yeah, alright. Just making sure. So Walther's still in a bit of a lead here. He'll probably go swamp straight into desert to finish that out, and depending on what he finds in here, he might even find, like, the flute and the mitts, and then he can come back and do, like, check the mire area into desert, maybe. We are finally getting some new information, and that's wonderful. Small key 2. Yeah, no, sir. Ben, I'm shocked. I'm surprised at how few pod smalls we found so far. It almost makes me think that maybe it's a pendant or something. I don't know.
Yeah, could be. Not a lot of truck smalls either, for that matter. Which.
Yeah, there's just the one that I think we got in Eastern. No, it wasn't in Eastern. It was in the back of pod, in the Dark Maze. There is the swamp small for DT, and now we're gonna see what's in the big chest. And then we'll see what's on Lamola's. So far, how many double dips have we had to do? Dungeon-wise.
Well, we've got at least a double dip into pod so far.
Walther has a double dip into desert. Double dip into thieves. Double dip into skull.
Yep. I think the pod one's the only one that's been required so far, but...
We did just see an Ice Palace small in the big chest of desert, so not something incredibly required. We are going to see the diver down on Walther's side with the Cane of Burna, or Cane of Samaria. And a little bit of trouble getting the lineup right. That's the downside when you have all that stuff going on. Like, there's so much lag in that room when you're trying to do diver down. Yeah. It's like, am I doing it right? Am I getting it?
All right, DT heading into his worm fight.
And I'm curious to see if we'll get some Ice Rod action. He did pick up that Temperate Sword out of Agona's Cave, so that'll be nice for him.
Yep.
Side Swamp has the Bombos!
Ooh. And yep, he is pulling out that Ice Rod. Making short work of those worms. Hey, there's one of those pod keys we've been looking for. Over on the left side of Swamp.
And another crystal. So that means all of our pendants are in the Dark World. So, and we have the Swamp and the Mire maps, so the only unaccounted for dungeons are Pod and T-Rock. Prize-wise. if we get a map check.
Yeah, the process of elimination could tell us a lot of things here, but
Yeah, I think in this case, you would much rather have a crystal T-Rock, because then you know you don't have to potentially dive into GT looking for T-Rock smalls. But we'll see. DT going to be not too far, well, a bit far behind coming into Swamp, but he does have his third crystal as well. Nothing really in here. We do have the Bombos medallion, and we do have a second pod small.
yeah, pods. Ooh, and there's the Titans.
Finally.
You called it.
Of course.
Wasn't exactly a hard call. Not much. Starting to run out of places you can get to without them.
All right, now go to Ice Palace to get the Fire Rod. There's our Turtle Rock big keys. Another one, another big key. Suddenly big keys. It seems. The only ones we're still missing are the Mire and Skull Woods. That's it. It's only 2 big keys left out in the wild somewhere.
Yep, and of those 2, the Mire one's the only one that's hard required.
Vanilla Mitts. Yep. Oh, and Thief's Town. Sorry. 3 big keys. Though only 2 of them are hard required. Ooh, pulling out the Ice Rod for the the Argus Phase 2 fight. Oh, nice.
Get that sexy speed kill in the last one.
Well,
there's
never
the fire
mind.
rod.
Never mind. I was ready for Fire Rod to be an Ice Palace, but... Well, this is interesting. Gosh, that opens up quite a bit all of a sudden. I mean, we can go finish Skull Woods, which I think is probably a good play, maybe. Though it'd be kind of nice to hold off until you find the big key so you can just clear that dungeon forever. Ice Palace Big was in the back of Pod. But, well, no. Walther would need to get, like, another key if he wanted to go back to Pod and maybe beat it and skipping those 2 key lock checks. So Ben, if you're Walther right now, once you beat Desert, okay, if you're DT or Walther after you're done with Desert/Swamp, where would you go? Where would you take that Fire Rod and Mitts?
I mean, certainly if I'm in DT shoes, Ice Palace is right there. It's full clearable. You've got that red cane, so you can do the Icebreaker and do it quickly. So that's definitely a strong possibility. For Walther, it's slightly iffier since he doesn't have that ice big and you're orphaning an item, although I think there's still a bunch of items in there. It's a completable dungeon. I think it's still a strong possibility in my mind. At some point, you gotta start making some strategic skips.
No, you gotta be thorough. Check everything, every time, all the time. Quad dip, everything. This is the way. I'm thinking we go straight into T-Rock right now. Because with 1 small key, you can get to Chain Chomps, and that's where the Triforce is. That's what I was told.
I mean, you do have all of Hookshot Cave right there, plus Super Bunny, so it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility. But T-Rock with less than 3 small keys is a tough pill to swallow.
Well, the thing is then, do you hold off on T-Rock or on Dark Death Mountain until you find the other 2 T-Rock smalls that you want? That's what's going through my head at this point if I'm them. Like, okay,
yeah.
When do I do Dark Death Mountain?
Yeah, I think if I'm Walther, I go ahead and knock out Skull Woods. Because that's 2 checks right there, and a boss kill. And that's when it starts becoming a harder decision between Dark Death Mountain and Ice Palace.
See, I would go straight for Ice Palace just because we have everything to make it really easy. We got, I mean, DT has. Oh, but yeah, you're right. Walther doesn't have the big key to ice, so
yeah,
he's in a bit of a different situation.
Yeah, from DT's perspective, absolutely, it's ice. It's full clearable. It's a quick dungeon. It's an easy dungeon with the loadout that he's got. No doubt in my mind. For Walther, it's a slightly tougher decision.
Yeah, and that also brings the point. I mean, we have a couple other Mitzlock locations. We have Smith, Purple Chest, Hammer Pegs. That's it. That's it. There it is.
Yes. If you're being thorough, Smith is definitely an option from Walter's perspective. That would be where you go to not have to orphan absolutely anything. But it looks like he's heading towards ice.
All right.
I think that's definitely a strong play.
DT was getting... He got about half of the puffs down using the quick strat. That looks so cool. And I have never tried to learn it, but it looks really nice. DT gets his fire rod, and he gets another crystal. So that would mean both players are up to 4 now, right? 4 crystals apiece. I still want to see a map check. I want to know where those pendants are, dang it.
Yeah, it's this is definitely a mode where knowing you're gonna have to do all the dungeons anyway, knowing that you're gonna get access when you get access because key sanity, you often don't see that map check until pretty late in the day, when things like ped access start to become an issue potentially.
No thanks.
Yeah, and both of our runners have a bunch of stuff to worry about before pet access becomes a glimmer in their eyes.
Yeah.
But it looks like we got a bit of near sync here. Our runners just a couple of screens apart as DT enters Ice Palace as well.
So this is going to be interesting. If there ends up being something in the big chest for DT, that could be significant. Also, because DT has the big key, he doesn't have to run back and hit the switch to do the icebreaker here. So he can save a little bit of time. So we're going to get different routes from both these runners through Ice Palace, pretty much, but after the icebreaker section.
Ice Palace routing is something I should get better at, because there are definitely, depending on your loadout, and especially key loadout and key sanity, there are more and less optimal ways to do it. And I'm a very basic person.
I honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of miss the days of Ice Palace Bomb Jump being the big thing. Like, Icebreaker is really cool and makes this dungeon, like, much easier. I think Icebreaker is a little too powerful, and I kind of want to bring. I would kind of like to see the Ice Palace Bomb Jump come back more. But at the same time, so many runners say like, well, I put off Ice Palace until I have Samaria so that I can do the Icebreaker, and I'll be like, okay, well then I'm gonna go to Ice Palace as soon as I can in case Samaria is there, and then I win.
See, I'm of a mind that Ice Palace Bomb Jump winds up being required just often enough to punish people who learn Icebreaker first and let me feel superior for having been in this scene just a little bit longer than they are, so I'm pretty happy with how it all shook out.
Oh, another big key. Oh, that's one of our required ones, Misery Mire. So we do still need to get that flute. And moment of truth on DT's side. What is in this chest? Oh, it's half magic. That's nice.
That's a nice to have, but certainly with 3 bottles in his back pocket for extra magic safeties if he needs it, it's not something Walther's gonna miss.
So that's good for Walther. It's, he's not going to get burned by that, because like literally if that was anything that was 100% required, you could almost call game right there.
Yeah, that's
just because nobody's coming back in Ice Palace for the big chest unless it's like one of the last things they do.
Yeah, that is absolutely a last location spot. If you orphan that, you are not coming back without a damn good reason.
And I'm kind of glad it wasn't, because I don't really... I would be sad if the race was called right here and right now. Oh, there's our second pendant. Okay.
Yep, I'm afraid I blinked and I missed that cold stare fight. Walther making it look easy there.
Yeah, he did get hit by one of the puffs, which made me a little worried because he was down to 4.5 hearts, but just a couple slashes and he was through. DT is going to be able to wail on him with Fire Rod. He might not even need to use his sword except for the initial spin. Oh, he's doing this thing. Look at that. DT utilizing those, well, he made the first part look cool, but then he goofed the dash poke on the second part, so now he just looks silly. But he gets through Cold Stare just fine. I like the utilization of the sword beams to basically reignite the Fire Rod shot. He gets to save a couple Fire Rod shots there.
Alright, that looks like Walther's heading into Skull Woods. Gonna go ahead and take care of that moth.
Okay, we have our map check. Pod and Mire are both crystals, which means Turtle Rock is our last pendant dungeon. Which means small keys can be in GT. Wonderful. So, Thieves Town Big, Flute, and maybe Quake and some TR Smalls, I think is all we are required left.
Yep, that would be my read as well.
So, and the only thing in this scenario that could be in GT would be potentially Quake for T-Rock, or the small keys for T-Rock, or the Thieves Town Big. That's it. Well, at this point, Walther still continues to have a slight lead in this race. Half magic is nice. Not going to give DT too much of an advantage, but might save him some time here and there. After Skull Woods, do you think we head up to Dark Death Mountain?
I think that's definitely where the seed's pointing us.
Yeah. Pretty good moth fight from Walther. Picks up a heart container, bringing us a comfy 12 hearts. Probably gonna head back in to check that other chest, assuming he didn't already do that.
Absolutely, and I'm trying to work the math in my head and think if there could be anything good on PED, or if it's even worth mirroring out and doing a PED check here.
Well, the only thing that could be on PED...
I suppose it could be Quake for Mire, but that would require some...
I mean, if there's anything required on PED... Oh, there's the last sword. Alright, there's our gold sword. If there's anything required on PED, it would mean that there's nothing in GT.
Yeah, pretty much. So, good
Which
information
would be
to have,
a good thing for these runners, because they would prefer to Gomo GT.
Just couch cash.
As expected. Alright, where are we getting next? Smith Chain coming up for Walther here, probably? Based on where he's going. So this could be huge if we get a divergence. Otherwise, we're just gonna... DT's just gonna be basically following behind Walther through Smith Chain. I would personally probably go for Smith Chain now as well, because after that, then all you really have left is Death Mountain, right?
Yeah, and you know, as I think about it, I think this is definitely the right play, because if you should happen to find a Troc small or two, save yourself a mountain trip.
Oh, that's true. And with the completion of Skull Woods on both players' sides, we do have access to Pyramid Fairy now. And I'm assuming for DT, if he decides... Oh, he's going Death Mountain. Never mind. Well, he doesn't want to do Smith Chain or Pyramid Fairy or Catfish, it looks like. So this could be huge. Walther finds something here in Hammer Pigs. Well, that's something. If there's nothing along the Smith line, then, you know, DT never does it. Because that's the thing, is DT didn't do Zora or Catfish, and I feel like in his mind at this point, he's going to try and avoid them entirely if he can.
Yeah, it's definitely... Ooh,
Well,
and there's Flute. We've got some Dwarven Flute Smiths.
That is our Meyer access point. And if we have the correct medallion for it, that's another dungeon that we can go complete. And then the funny thing is, oh, there's a T-Rock Small in Super Bunny, the red boomerang as well. The funny thing is, we still need like 4 more pod keys for logical GT access. I don't think we're going to find all of them, but that is interesting to think about. Oh, is that it? Skullwood's big. Not the one you wanted to see. You wanted to see that Thieves Town. DT is also going to get the small key off a floating island, which could be another T-Rock Small. Or not?
Yeah. If there winds up being something good in Skullwood's big chest, I suppose DT could save a little bit of time being able to route that in with his Smith chain.
Well, at this point, I'd say the small key on Floating Island is either going to be a Pod Small or a T-Rock Small. Technically, I mean, the T-Rock Small is 100% required. The Pod Small isn't technically required if you go mode Pod at this point. Though Walther would need a second Pod Small since he opened the front door, so... Well, we do have access to T-Rock. Do we have access to Misery Mire?
I did not see, although I imagine that would be Walther's next move if we do.
Chat is saying Quake, which makes things very interesting now. So that's good for DT, since the flute is not really opening up too much for Walther at this point. Oh, it is Ether. That is definitely not Quake. That is definitely Ether. So
Ooh.
that's what I get for listening to chat. All right. Well, at this point, we are looking for a Thieves Town big. We need at least one more T-Rock Small, since we know where 3 of them are. And I think that's it. That sound like?
Yeah, it sounds right from where I'm sitting.
So right now, this is definitely Walther's advantage. Unless DT can find something here. The thing is, DT can get all the way up to the big chest at this point. I'm curious why he skipped that floating island key, though.
Yeah. If
If
that
that had
wind
been-
up being a Trock Small,
Yeah, he could have been able to beat this dungeon if he skipped the lava chest, so... Because despite what the tracker says, he does have 2 T-Rock Smalls. Okay, skipping on the spike chest, gonna route it in after checking the big chest, looks like. The question is, will Walther go ahead and check cutscene chest or not, or is he gonna skip it? Do you think it's still early enough that you go ahead and full clear when you can? If you can?
I think I do, but then I'm well aware that one of my weaknesses as a runner is being conservative.
That's fair. I'm the same way. It's like, can I route this efficiently? No? Okay, then I guess I just won't do it now. I'll do it when I can. and then whatever I'm looking for is in there, and I'm required to route inefficiently. But it's too late to make up for the time. Alright, what do we got over here? Some more bombs and a chest turn. Spicy. So yeah, at this point, if either runner finds like a required item in this dungeon, it'll make things particularly interesting. That is a pod small, probably not the small that DT wanted to see. Yeah, if that T-Rock small is up on Floating Island, then that might be bad for DT.
Yeah, that's potentially a game-deciding error in a match this close.
Oh yeah, and he did steal the Pokey Key, which I'd probably agree with. Just so he can get all the way down to Lava Chest, but yeah, it is going to be unfortunate that he'll probably end up having to double dip, go through this entire dungeon a second time. And at this point, because of... Oh, there it is!
Oh,
there's the Thieves' Town Big!
Big!
Okay. That's a B. So that is huge. That's going to send DT back into the area, and he very well will probably do Smith Chain afterwards. He just needs that T-Rock Small for go mode. That T-Rock Small and the flute, so... Ben, this is getting crazy. There's a mushroom. No one wants to see that at this point in the race.
Well, at least you're seeing it when you already have the flute. It's not that far to turn in.
And DT get bailed out by a small key on the bridge. That's not the right small key. Neither is that. There's Sankheart, though. $5. All right. Well, he is gonna try and save his portal, I suppose.
Yeah, no reason not to. Although I'm trying to think what he has left in the light world, where he could hope to come back here.
No, he just wanted to leave so he could not get spawned on the pyramid. Because I'm like, yeah, you can't really do this without having to like flute away your death warp, and that's pretty slow. Actually, no, you can't even save your portal because it's because they beat Aga. Never mind.
Oh, yep, true.
If you die in the Dark World. Oh, no.
You die in real life. No.
You die in the game, you die in real life. Wait. You mirror there, you can flute... As long as you don't go back into the Dark World, you can save your portal. I think. Yeah, because if you die in the Dark World, you go back to the pyramid. Yeah, for DT's sake... He needs that Floating Island key to be a pod key. Walther had a little bit of trouble with the spooky action glitch. Gonna instead use his green potion so he doesn't have to use a bomb so he can pull off the cool glitch. Worth it.
But yeah, as far as that skipped small on Floating Island is concerned, it could still be a GT small key as well, so more likely it's not required, but if it is, oof.
It looks like we have all 4 of our GT smalls.
Oh, you're right.
But we're still missing 3 more pod smalls, so at this point there's a higher chance of being a pod small than anything else, I'd say. So DT needs a T-Rock small to show up here in the back of Thieves. That would be ideal. Walther playing a little on the danger side, but knowing that he has a fairy in a bottle to save him, he can play a little wildly. Gets through the Vidi fight just fine. Is this it? That's a pod small. Now the other question is, will DT do Smith after this, or is he going to go to pod? Because now he has enough keys to probably full clear pod. If he probably would... No, yeah, with 4 keys I think you'd have enough. You just have to do some weird routing.
Yeah, you have to do that bow-locked side multiple times in order to avoid opening up the front door, but it's a little time-consuming, but it can be done.
So, okay. Yeah, and Walther doesn't have either T-Rock smalls. There's one in the back of Pod, and then the other one was in Super Bunny Cave. All Walther needs to do is... But he doesn't have any of the pods. Is this it? There it is! Oh my gosh! Alright. Wow. The third T-Rock small in Blind's chamber. Now the question is, all DT has to do is turn in the Smith, and he'd be our first player into go mode in this race. And the question is, I mean, as a runner, if you clear T-Rock, don't beat it, do you still make time to, like, check overworld stuff like Smith Chain? Because it's one of those things where it's like, well, if I don't do this now, I'm probably never going to do it. Because he's just never going to come back to that area, so... Oh, look, there's Quake. Now we can go into Mire. Haha. Not the cleanest blind fight from DT, but... he'll get through it just fine. Alright. Well, this is interesting. Walther picking up some blue potions. Just in case, you can never be too sure. Let's see what DT does. This is looking like... This is looking like the Smith Chain.
Yep, it certainly is.
So this is huge for In the Name of DT. He is about to get his flute and be the first player to enter Go mode. And then all he has to do is just kill Vidi, kill Helma, kill Trinex, and Go mode GT. Unless I goofed and forgot one thing. But I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure this is going to be Go mode coming up.
Yep, and it is possible if... Because there is a fourth Troc small.
Mm-hmm.
We could both be right. if Walther collects that floating island small and it is the fourth Troc small, he could go ahead and knock out Trinex on the first go into Troc.
Unfortunately, he hasn't been to the back of Pod yet, which has the other T-Rock small.
Oh, you're right. So never mind.
He would be in the same situation as DT, only having 2 keys. All right, DT,
correct.
Our first player in Go mode. Gonna go activate his flute and probably head to the Mire area to confirm that he is in fact in Go mode. Yeah, that's something to think about. If that does end up being the T-Rock small up there on Floating Island, DT could have done T-Rock in one go and saved a bit of time there. So let's see if Walther remembers that exists. Because I really want to know what's there.
Yeah, I'm more curious than anything else at this point.
Yeah, and the other thing to think about is, you know, Mire's a pretty lengthy dungeon when you full clear it. I don't recall if did Walther end up going back to cutscene chest? I don't actually remember.
I believe he did.
What do we got? It's...
Yep.
Ah.
Oh.
All right, we're gonna have to have a laugh about that with them in the interview. Team meeting. I'd say, like, that's an easy thing to forget about, that you left an item there on Floating Island or something, but, I mean, we're only an hour and 20-some-odd minutes in. Like, it's not like we're 2 hours in and we're struggling to find stuff. But then again, DT said he hasn't practiced All Dungeons Key Sandy at all this week, so... I think he's only played 1 seed, and it was like an Randomizer co-op with JP for next week, so... Man, who'd have thought the T-Rock gamble paid off?
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah, heading... I suppose he had 2 smalls by that point, so...
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but still knowing that logically logically so much stuff is key locked behind keys that for all you know could be in GT. It's a heck of a play.
Yeah, it is kind of amazing that we actually get to go mode Ganon's Tower and an all dungeon key sanity. Like, if I ever showed somebody an all dungeon key sanity seed, it would not be this one, because this one is an outlier from how this mode usually goes. They're like, oh, I heard all dungeon key sanity. I heard they take like an hour and a half. Like, no,
Nope.
no, you are in fact wrong.
Yeah. You wanna go ahead and set aside 2.5. You know what? Set aside 3 if you're new.
You know what? Just be on the safe side. Now the other question is will Walther also skip Lava Chest like DT did? Because that's the thing. If DT had checked Lava Chest but forgot about Floating Island Key, this could be a very different story. And if he does check it, he would just have to get the one and Blind Cell, which he'll get when he does Thieves Town. And then the one in the backup pod. So, but DT grabbing his next crystal. I'd assume he's on his way to Palace of Darkness next to get his last crystal.
Of course, technically speaking, we do have 2 more pod smalls hiding somewhere that logically do lock Helma. But this late in the day, who's thinking about logic, really?
Right. It is also kind of shocking that I think there was a 3rd pod small in here. And then a 4th one I think was in I think it was the attic chest of Thieves Town. But to be this far into a seed and only have 2 pod smalls is kind of, for a crystal pod as well. Pendant pod, I'd believe it, but a crystal pod? That's wild. Now, just as a reminder, this is, without going too much into detail about how this week is playing out, in case people wanted to watch some past races from this week, starting at the beginning of this week, this division in particular had a 5-way tie for 2nd place, while 1st place was only 1 win ahead of the pack. So, any wins are going to be huge this week. I mean, we're still going to probably end up with like a 3-way tie, maybe a 4-way tie for 2nd, going into the final week. So this division is really going to come down to the wire. Like, it might even come down to like actual tiebreakers where it's based on your record against other people in the division. So it's going to be interesting for sure to see how this plays out.
Absolutely. An incredibly competitive division, and this is game 1 of 2 games between these 2 particular teams. I believe your next is scheduled for this coming Sunday.
Yeah, that's going to be Marknificent of Old Swagga Jackson versus Brewers fan JP of WJP DTB. Should be an exciting match.
Ooh, you said the whole team name this time. I think that's your quota filled for the race.
I did the thing. I didn't even have to practice, like DT, this week.
Didn't have to take a big, time-saving breath, collecting
Take a big swig of my water before I go for it.
Those guys.
I'm really I'm excited that we're ending the regular season with a co-op. I'm not excited about co-op Randomizer, but if there was any situation where you'd be forced to play Randomizer, I'm glad it's in a co-op.
I think those are 2 modes that play nice together. It's nice when you run into that Trinex you can't kill to console yourself, saying, well, at least my teammate won't have to deal with this nonsense.
I feel like it's just going to lead to quite a few laughs, which is always good. I was really happy when they added a third co-op. Rest in peace, Cross Keys, but I do like a third co-op match, so I hope for next season they continue that trend.
Absolutely, that's one of the fun things of this league format is getting to play with your teammates. Definitely want to lean into that as much as possible.
All right, where is... Okay, Walther is going to be heading straight to Thieves Town. Yeah, once again, because of Aga being already defeated, there's no saving portals this time around. But Walther is going to get his small key to T-Rock, which will be enough for him to beat T-Rock. The problem for him, and this is actually something I didn't even consider, is DT having the hammer when he went into pod with one key allowed him to get to the back of pod where he found the vanilla pod big. And Walther, much like most people are in this scenario, would probably try to hold off on going to a dungeon until you find the big key to complete it. So that probably didn't do Walther any favors either.
That's an excellent point. I had completely forgotten that Walther is still sitting there without that pod big. Oh, that's rough.
He's like, well, Hera Big was in Hera Basement, so there's no way Pod Big's going to be in Pod, right? That doesn't make sense. But randomizers are going to do their thing. They're going to be random. DT just has to make his way through T-Rock. Kill Trinex, and then he's heading right into GT. It's got to feel weird in an all-dungeon key sanity to get to go mode. Well, I guess 2 dungeons. Meyer and GT, since DT pretty much did all of T-Rock already.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... In my mind, playing a little less key sanity, it's always a weird feeling just walking into GT and going straight to the gauntlet.
It's
no
great.
worries about routing. Just let's just do this.
It's like I can't lose time to routing if I'm going straight north. Easy.
Guy tapping his forehead meme.
Walther about to get his 3rd T-Rock small. Yeah, the interesting thing is going to be seeing what Walther does after Thieves Town. Because, I mean, at this point, he'll still have, well, he'll have Trinex, that's one item, and then he'll have Pod, so. Because he did Pyramid Fairy, he did Purple Chest, I think all he has left is Pod at this point. I don't think we've seen Spike Cave, though, from either player.
Yeah, very true. Yeah,
Skull Big, true.
Yeah, Skull Big, it's getting down to those weird orphaned one-off checks to find those last pod smalls.
Alright, let's see this Trinex fight. Phase 2. Gold Sword's gonna make this nothing really to see. Just hit him with the thing. DT, go pull the pedestal. Do it for the fans. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. He's got over 2,000. Does he really have over 2,000 rupees?
2130 by my reading.
Okay, I don't think he needs that couch cash on the pedestal then.
I suppose that's something else we haven't seen. Walther could go turn in that green pendant. See what.
He probably will on his way into pod if that's where he's heading next.
Yeah, why not? It's right there.
Skull Big coming up on Walther's side, I assume.
Yeah, this is definitely something that you check now or forever hold your peace.
I don't recall if we have DT's audio or not.
I don't believe we do.
Gold sword, blue tunic, 12 hearts. There's our 5th pod small. So the question is, where's the last one then? I bet it's in pod. If I had to guess,
Yeah.
I'd put in one of the 2 key for key scenarios.
Very well could be.
All right, Walther going to be heading to pod
That would
next.
just be the
That would be
insult to injury of the 2 vanilla, after the 2 vanilla big keys this seed.
That would be rough. Can we get a version of Key Sanity where dungeon items or items can't appear in their vanilla dungeon? I think that'd be really cool. So you know that 100 rupee that it's in the front of Eastern in the first chest? Can't be there. It's not allowed.
There's no vanilla item location.
No vanilla.
Whatsoever.
Yeah. I feel like there was a while there was a customizer. Ooh. Wow, nice silvers on green pendant.
Indeed.
Probably still, once again, not what Walther's looking for. But yeah, there was definitely a customizer preset that someone made that made it so that all the items, all the dungeon items were vanilla. So the only thing that was shuffled was, I think, the big chest and the boss heart. And any... Well, actually, I don't know if it was also, like, the dungeon items that were, you know, like the rupees or arrows and stuff like that. It was interesting. It's like ambrosia, but less ambrosia. Or more ambrosia.
Yeah, it's like ambrosia. A bad mode.
Ooh. No, I think you're thinking of...
Fired.
There it is!
Yep. You called it!
Oh, this game...
That was the vanilla...
stinks.
Well, not vanilla, but that was the key for a key. Pod small.
This is why people ignore pod logic most of the time, because stuff like that happens.
Yep.
That's funny, but also awful. Sorry, Walther. Alright, well. He is gonna get his pod big here, as well as his ice big. Except... Okay, well, this is some interesting routing. I'm gonna go ahead and do the hammer jump first. I guess when you have extra keys, you might as well. Oh, nope.
Or if you just forget you don't have the big.
Yeah, there's your muscle memory for the day. At least it wasn't lava chest. Like, if you're gonna muscle memory anything, big chest from hammer jump is probably better than opening up the lava chest.
Yeah, well, it's not like there's anything else he needs, right? Or no, he did need that. He did need that truck small, so never mind.
Well, he didn't. But yeah, that's his 4th one now. Because he got the one that was on the floating island, and the one that was in Thieves Town. That was the 3rd one. But this is, I think, the Ice Palace, and then Vanilla Pod.
There you go. Meanwhile, DT heading into his 2nd wizard fight of the seed, getting a nice double to start things off here.
Not quite the right position for that. Potential double there. Getting only a single one on there. Nice. Definitely a double there. It looked like 2 of them hit at the same time.
Yeah, you might be right. And the wizard goes down.
How many cycles was that, chat? Like 5? It's okay. He's fortunately for him, he's got time to spare. It is frustrating when you get to the end of the seed and then you lose a bunch of time on Ag 2 when things just don't line up.
Yep.
But DT about to hop into the Ganon fight. Gold sword, no silvers, so we will have to see some silverless Ganon, some gold sword spins or slashes if you're feeling spicy. Yeah, I'd say the big things about this seed that really changed was DT getting the hammer first. I think that played a pretty significant part, just because of getting that pod big and getting that extra T-Rock small, maybe. But yeah, if DT had gotten the flute off of Smith, gone and done Meyer, I guess it still would have kind of evened out either way. So yeah, I'd say that hammer was kind of significant in this seed.
Yeah, it's funny how those small differences in routing can wind up having a bit of a butterfly effect that ripples down the rest of the seed.
All right, one more hit and we're into phase 4 as Walther knocks off the mask of Helma, takes him down in 2 slashes. Did you find the arrows in the light world? So for DT's like, green pendant, Zora. I think that's it for him.
I think just about.
I don't know how he plays that game with that silly sprite.
Oh, I love that sprite.
I mean, it's great, but I'd be like getting hit by all these fire bats if I was using it.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. I
wouldn't know where his hitbox is the thing.
For like the first year that I played this game, I always chose random sprites, so you get real good at judging hitboxes with the weirdest, dumbest sprites real quick that way.
I love it. All right, well, DT takes down the pig. Going to be entering the Triforce room and going to be the winner of this race today. That was a very interesting all Dutch key sanity. GG's to In the Name of DT of WJP DTV.
Absolutely. Finishing with an official race time of 1 hour, 41 minutes, 27 seconds. Very fast for an All Dungeons Key Sanity. That'd be a respectable time for almost any mode.
All right, we'll go ahead and see if we can get him in for a chit-chat. Of course, they are on a 10-minute delay, so they've had time to kind of relax. Let loose. Hey, look, there he is. Hey, gamer. GG.
Hey, GG.
That was, that was a weird All Dungeons Keys seed. When that's not the norm, then... how'd you feel about it overall?
I wasn't really putting a whole lot of thought into much. Really long story short, it's been kind of a crazy week, and I haven't even had a chance to practice at all this week. So going into this, like, I wasn't gonna think too heavily about anything. I was just gonna kind of like let my fingers take me places, and like even when I saw flippers on Lumberjack early on, it's like, okay, cool, whatever, we'll deal with it.
I mean, getting information like that early just says, cool, so Castle Tower Key is not going to be my go mode for once.
No, but I still thought I was going to find them like an hour in. That was actually kind of nice to have them pretty early.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was interesting. Like, I feel like you rarely see an early Agatower seed in All Dungeons of Key Sanity, and then especially one where you're required to hookshot across the broken bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Thought that was pretty interesting. Would say the biggest play for you was double backing up to Graveyard Ledge after getting the mirror. That kind of led to... I mean, it didn't really do that much. It allowed you to save us some time here and there, like up on Death Mountain. But more importantly, I think it was getting you that big key in pod. And maybe the T-Rock Small that was in there.
Yeah, whatever was back there. I know the 2 big keys were there, Ice and Pod. So yeah, it was kind of a weird play, I thought, because like, why am I going in here with only 1 small key? But Eastern was beatable. Kane being there wound up being nice, and then I mean, I got what, like 8 items out of Pod the first time there with the 1 key, so it's like, yeah, no, it's worth at least checking it, I guess.
Yeah.
And then
it worked out pretty well.
A bit of it throughout the mid game just felt kind of linear, because I think after that, maybe right away or soon after, like doing Bombos into Desert, getting the Desert Small to get the Swamp Small.
Yep,
I think the Swamp Small might have been in the map chest even, but either way, like it was just really straightforward. And then midst of the ice, like, okay, cool.
Yeah, it was a pretty linear seed. And then, like, the hammer gave you a little bit of advantage early because, you know, when you're getting close to the end, the last thing you want to do is dive a dungeon looking for its big key. But also, after after Skull Woods, because you guys kind of did Ice and Skull at the same time, right, one after another, you decide to go to T-Rock. Walther does Smith Chain. He ends up full clearing Mire. while you get to go mode it later. That also helped you out quite a bit.
Interesting. Yeah, Meyer can be a several-minute commitment.
Mm.
I mean, in the same vein, kind of double-dipping TR is similar enough, too. That's another 3-4 minutes just to go back.
That leads me to my next question. DT, would you like to know what that small key was on Floating Island?
Sure. Why
It
not?
was the T-Rock one. So, you didn't have to double-dip T-Rock, but
Nope,
you decided to do it anyway.
I saw it early on when I did Paradox. I'm like, okay, there's a small key there. I forgot to make note of it, and when I went back up to do Hookshot Cave, I just went to TR, and then when I went back up to do TR for real, I was like, oh, there's a small key there. Well, I don't need it now, so whatever.
When you were in Hookshot Cave, you were like, all right, cool. Well, we still need T-Rock smalls, definitely, and we could use some pod smalls, but we were still missing both, so it could have been either.
That's funny.
And so it was actually really beneficial to you that third T-Rock small ended up being in Blind Cell. That
made me feel so much better about the play into TR initially, because it was the last TR small I needed locked behind the Thieves Big in TRs. I was like, okay, I'll count that as a win.
We were kind of worried that you might skip out on Smith Chain afterwards, after finishing Thieves. Were you considering skipping it, or were you like definitely gonna be like, I'm just gonna do this now because if I don't do it now, I'm never doing it?
I was considering going straight to pod because there were 3 items there and Green Pendant, and then between Helma and the other 2 items I needed, like routing it would have been kind of slow-ish within the dungeon. So I decided Smith Chain's just faster checks per minute right now, and got the flute, and I was like, oh. That was pretty much my reaction to like the whole seed. Like I was super chill about this whole thing. I was like, oh, that's that.
Cool.
Oh, I need that. Yeah, I guess I need that too. Okay, cool. Go mode.
Well, it worked out. The only thing you missed out on were silvers on Green Pendant. That was about it.
Wonderful.
But
good spot for them.
Yeah. The only other thing that I wanted to ask you about was your decision to grab the bow and then immediately go to Eastern. I'm assuming it was you were hoping to find mitts in that area to make East Death Mountain more efficient, or?
Partly, but mostly just because Key Sanity adds basically double the value to Eastern. So I was like, well, I can go do 6 items and a crystal, and then maybe I'll find a pod small in there too, and I'll be able to do a little bit more in pod. And then I knew that after that it was just a quick save and quick back up the mountain, and it was basically as if I picked up where I left off anyway.
Yeah. No, that's smart. Alright, cool. GG's, man. This was
Thanks.
a huge win for you and for your team, our team.
Yeah, definitely knew it was going to be a tough match. Walter or I, either one of us could have easily come out on top on this one. Like, it wouldn't have surprised me either way. So
it's a tough mode where really, like, one decision could be the decider. We were kind of relieved that the Big Chest and Ice Palace didn't have anything required, because, like, you're not going back, because Walter didn't have Ice Palace Big for it, and you're not going back for that ever. If there's something in there, it's like the last thing you do, probably.
That was the interesting thing. Like, most of my reaction was super chill throughout this, but like when I was finding big keys to ice and swamp, it's like I don't know. Maybe he misses these, and there's something there. And then I was like, yeah, you know what? So this is a good play. This is cool. And then there was nothing there, and it's like, well, it could have been. So I don't feel bad about like any of my routing in this. I felt good about it.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like you routed. I feel like you routed really well. I think you made decisions that obviously worked out in your favor. Despite, I think the doubling back to Graveyard Ledge was, I would argue, a uncommon play. I think, but it ended up paying off huge.
Given the nature of all dungeons. Full clear sanity. I just wanted to be thorough.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Obviously, I think in a non-standard mode,
probably would have left that for a bit then. Like
or
just
in
open
a standard
mode.
In a non-standard mode, that's a good play.
Maybe even in regular keys. I don't know. All dungeons keys just adds just enough extra game length that it's like, you can make some extra checks like that and have it be okay.
The 2 things that you did skip that I was interested about was. You never did Zora or Catfish ever, which I thought was interesting. Because I think at one point you did check the floating, or the Lake Hylia Island.
Right.
And I was like, okay, cool. He's going to go down, go through the Catfish portal, do Catfish Zora and then finish off with the guy under the bridge. But then he just went straight for that really cool mirror spot to check the guy under the bridge instead. So
Yeah, I didn't have enough money for Zora the first time, and like I think the most appropriate time to check Catfish would have been after entering the Dark World from the pyramid, and of course I didn't have a glove, so I just never got around to those.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Well, lucky for you, there was nothing there. I think it was
Lucky for
$50 on Catfish and a green rupee on Zora. So not the best investments.
And
Cool.
it looks like, if I can hop in for a second, looks like Walther's
course.
about to head into his Ganon fight with silvers and butter. That should be over quick, and maybe he's not. Oh, there he goes. Kill the pig, Walther. You've earned it.
I wonder if that was a bring up the race time and say GG kind of thing. Because I, for one, whenever I'm racing, I usually minimize the race channel as I'm going through GT. Or at some point later in the race, just so I can focus on the game and not worry about anything. So. But I'm not going to metagame on something that doesn't matter. But yeah, DT, if you got anything else to add about this?
Nothing really. Appreciate you guys taking the time for comms. Looking forward to watching it back.
Yeah, it was fun. GG. Alright, Walther heading into the last phase for one more hit, and then we'll have a real quick phase 4 with those silvers in hand.
Gets that torch glitch. And a second arrow into the pig.
This song is so good. I'm surprised he didn't go for the double there. Ooh. Oh my gosh. What is he doing?
Okay, he's memeing something here. Putting on a show for us.
What is happening? I want to know what the select buffering to dash in was. Unless there's something cool that can happen.
Is he trying to do a silverless hit on him here? What's happening?
Nope. Holy cow, how is he alive?
What is happening? What is this? He just wants to give us something to talk about during the interview because he knows we'll already have patched through the whole race with DT.
GG's? Question mark?
GG Walther.
I'm curious what that was about, but... All right, well, there you have it. Walther coming in second with a time of 1:53.19. There he is in chat. Or in voice. GG's, Walther.
Yo, GG's.
Before we talk about the seed, what was that? What was that? What was that Ganon fight? What are you doing?
It's shout outs to my teammate Kern. That's just like the blindfold Ganon strength.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool. Did you do a blind?
No.
Did you do a blindfold? Oh, okay.
I'm not that crazy.
I don't think you would have gotten out of that situation where you were behind him against the hole. If you were
Yeah. I can barely do it when the eyes open. So.
Mm-hmm. So, walk us through that one. How'd you felt about it overall until, obviously, the end?
I don't know. I felt pretty good until I had to choose between Pod and Tartarok towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could have had Hammer earlier. I thought about going back up for the mirror spots when I got the mirror, but with the Agate Dead, like you can get around there fairly easy.
Yeah, with a save and quit, you can get back up there and did what you did, where you check Catfish too.
Yeah, so you skipped that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I could have had Hammer earlier, and then like I probably would have been better if I went to Pod, obviously, instead of Tartarok. But other than that, it felt pretty good.
It's good. Yeah, it's a tough call out there at the end. It's like, do I go to pod without the pod big? Or do I go to Turtle Rock without any T-Rock smalls?
I think at the moment I only had one pod key, so like even if I went to the back and got the big key, I still would have been missing small keys.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Like very unlikely that I was gonna be able to do pod in one go. So I just went up the mountain because like I hadn't done like any of the Dark Depth mountain yet.
Yeah, and the pod smalls ended up being extremely scattered. Like,
yeah.
There was one in the vanilla big key chest in pod, which we got a bit of a chuckle out of. There was one in T-Rock, one in Thieves down in the big chest in the attic behind the big key.
Yeah,
There's one I think in the Skullwoods big chest.
Yeah.
So yeah, either way, you were gonna have to like double dip.
Yeah.
Well,
so I would have probably like
pod or T-Rock.
Yeah. I definitely would have gone up the mountain if I went pod first, after pod, because at that point I would have been able to full clear Turtle Rock.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
like,
that was.
It would have been double climb no matter what for me, I think.
Yeah, now I think about it, because of that T-Rock small in the dark maze of pod, like, and one of them being in Blind's cell, blocked by the big key that was in T-Rock.
Yeah.
The fact that DT had the hammer the first time he was in pod allowed him to use that one key he had to get to the back, to get those keys, which allowed him to save time later.
Yeah. Also,
so
maybe a little bit silly of me to do Aga before doing the Long Crocs, but like it was very likely Aga was going to be required anyways, but maybe I should have done like the debut checks before heading to pod though. But I felt like I felt like I had to go to pod after farming the money on the way up.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is the stun prize was big was red rupees. So so DT had hookshot going up Aga Tower, so he was also farming for Zora money.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
But yeah, I mean, Ben and I have been talking about, but with these times, like this was not your normal all dungeon key sanity. With it being a early Aga required seed to get the flippers from Lumberjack to swim up and then hookshot across the broken bridge to find your Dark World progression. So it was
and then like after you went into Swamp and got half the items in the entire game, you could have just like chain dungeon into dungeon.
Yeah. But yeah, we were talking about earlier when DT stepped in, but like the biggest things here was DT getting the hammer earlier, and then DT making the T-Rock dive instead of doing Smith Chain. So he went you guys did Ice and then Skull, and DT went up to Death Mountain while you went and did Smith Chain and went to Mire. So DT also got to go mode Misery Mire.
Oh yeah, that's pretty nice. My Mire routing was pretty weird.
I saw that.
It's weird when you don't have any small keys in key side.
Because you were trying to save all the right side like grouped together in one.
Yeah. Probably should have saved like the bridge for later as well.
But yeah, all in all, I mean, you guys played really well, both of you. Just a matter of rando being rando, I'd say.
Yeah, I can't feel too bad about this. And then I'll let Mark win the next one so we can get like the ties back together again.
Trying to finish out this week with more ties.
Yeah, I don't think the 6-way tie is actually possible anymore, but
no, I don't
think a 5-way is maybe still possible.
I feel like it's going to end up being, depending on how Shacktool and they vetoed our acronym, how that goes. I mean, it could be some people tying for first and some people tying for second.
Yeah,
so I think it's going to be 2 sets of ties, but either way, week 7 is going to be wild.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to watching Mark and JP's race later this week. Should be good.
Yeah, they play on Sunday, right? I think.
That sounds correct.
Okay, nice. Yeah, thanks for doing the comms and the tracking and all that.
Of course. Thanks for running. GG's to both you guys.
Yeah, GG's. And GG's to DT.
GG's, Walter. Good race.
Yeah,
All right, Ben. Well, I think we're done here. It was a pleasure, my friend.
Absolutely. We do have a whole lot more Randomizer League action coming up. We've got, in just a little bit here on, let's see, what time is it now? Just a little bit on Speed Gaming Prime. I Like Big Boots versus Major Mistakes. Then later on tonight, Spherefinity versus the Immortals on Speed Gaming 5, and Waffle House Drive-Thru versus CLW at Speed Gaming 4. So stay tuned, everybody.
Just want to take a quick moment also to thank our tracker captain, our captain tracker, for keeping things nice and tidy on screen for us, as well as our restreamers and all the admins behind the league. And of course, you out there, viewers, thanks for watching. And we'll see you in the next one.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.